Welcome back to Gig Harbor Paddling. Today we've got a canoe camp. I'm Coach Payton with the San Diego Canoe and Kayak team. Today we're doing some time trials. We just did a 1,000 meter with turn. We're about to do a 500 meter and then a 200 meter, and then we're going to do a 5K.
How's everybody feeling today?
Tired.
Tired? I like it. Any other adjectives to describe your feeling? Tomorrow, I think you're going to do campfire. Just a straight up 500, and then we're going to do a 200, and then we're going to do the 5K. So it'll be kind of fun to do them back to back, but interesting with doing 1,000 with the turn. Everybody's kind of done their individual warm-ups, but let's just do some group stuff right away.
2, 3, 4.
I don't know, how many arm circles do you do normally?
Like 20 each way.
20 each way, there you go. These are Anna Banana lunges. Jump, whoa, yeah. Oh. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Bar jump. All right, let's go. Stop! 610! Stop!
I always was more into the 200 because I didn't like conditioning as much. It's the lactic thing, and so I was pretty good at sprinting. But I also like the 5Ks, the wash riding was a lot of fun, and the tactical,
the strategy
tactical stuff was fun.
Yeah. What's the longest race they do?
Well, at sprint races, it's 5K. But there's marathon canoe kayak too, which is this similar boats. They're just a little lighter, and they go up to like 30-ish K for the guys.
Is that the ones where they do the portage?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Oh! Up, Connor. Up, Alistair. Up, Ben. Up. Up. Connor is working on getting some more pressure down at the catch, getting his body weight onto the blade. He's got pretty good hip engagement, but missing a little bit of that weight transfer.
What is Aaron working on?
He's working on. He's got pretty decent hip engagement a lot of the time, but it's not always super consistent. So locking in at the catch and not moving the hips early. So we want to make sure that blade is anchored before we start to pull with the hips. So that we're not losing any energy from the hips going back before that blade is buried, and so we're not actually moving the boat forward.
Wow!
And he's working on getting a little bit more reach and rotation, right? He's got a decent stroke, but needs to be more consistent, getting fully rotated and keeping his setup a little farther out. Part of that is also getting the hip return a little bit cleaner so that he's not having to come so far forward from an exit pretty far back. And we're going getting weight onto the blade. He has decent hip movement, but we want to make sure we're getting a little bit more buried at the catch and getting more weight transfer on there, and then keeping the hips moving forward, backwards, and rotating, but also the pressing up of getting the weight on there. So I was working on a little bit more reach, making sure that the hips are connected when she does reach farther forward. You want to get your hips tight, have them fully rotated, and then keep that as you catch, and make sure you're not releasing that tension before you fully caught the water. Alistair is working on the connection between his upper body and his hips. He tends to over-rotate his shoulders a little bit, so he loses some of that connection through the core. So a lot of that power doesn't end up getting into the water, and then also the sequencing of when he is applying power. He kind of there's a little bit of a slinky motion where he gets really far rotated here, and then he does like he does hips and then the core and then the shoulders rotate, so it's not all one cohesive movement. It's kind of moving up through there, and we want it to all work together instead of kind of one at a time. Graham is working on also his hips and his catch. He's letting the hips escape a lot in the back. It's also paddle looks a little bit short, so we're trying to lengthen that out. That way he can keep his body up a little bit more upright and doesn't have to fall down with his upper body quite so much to catch. Because right now he's getting pretty low, and then his hips are going a little bit early, so he's getting stuck with his chest pretty far down through the stroke. Malia, we're working on getting her hips rotated more. They're moving back and forth pretty well. But we need a little bit more rotation, and then to maintain the tension again at the catch, so that we're not losing any energy from them going early. Anna is working on getting a little bit more reach and rotation out of her hips. She's got pretty decent connection, but her stroke is just a little bit short, so she needs to rotate a little bit more, get a little bit bigger with her A-frame, so that she's not losing any of that stroke in the front. Emma, she's also working on opening up a little bit more rotation, so she can make that A a little bit bigger, and then also getting her weight onto that paddle. She has a decent amount of hip movement. We're just looking for a little bit more rotation, and then also weight transfer onto the blade. Ashley also weight onto the catch. Also top arm is a little bit exposed. Her shoulder blade is a little bit up, so a little bit of potential injury there. Hip connection is pretty good. Looking at a little bit more rotation, like with most of them, and then all of them could use a little bit of that, more of that downward pressure on the catch. Johanna pressing up off the catch and then not letting the hips escape back early. She's tending to fall down, getting her weight onto the paddle decently well, but then her hips are breaking and escaping early. She's not waiting for that blade to be caught before starting to transfer power, and then also pressing up a little bit more off the catch so that she doesn't get stuck with her chest facing down towards the back of the stroke. Olivia is working on also hip engagement, so rotating it forward and then also making sure it stays tight during the stroke. She's super flexible in her hips, so sometimes she'll overreach a little bit where she drops it so forward and low that it's not actually really engaged in generating power in the stroke anymore, because it's kind of too far.
Come this way.
So obviously we're trying to reach as far as we can with it, as long as it stays connected and actually can move the boat forward. Kate's working also the hip engagement, not letting them break early, and being consistent with her power at the catch. When she connects it looks pretty good. It's just a matter of being consistent with that, and then not over relying on kind of throwing her weight into the paddle and having to muscle herself up, but staying connected, using the hips a little bit more so that she can use all of her big muscle groups across the whole workout.